Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina was on this program a few weeks ago, and I want to play something she said because she says she is anti-abortion rights, but she has an exception for rape and incest. How do you respond to her? Are you open to exceptions for rape and incest?
I think it's tragic what Nancy went through, and my heart goes out to every single woman who's had to go through that situation. I don't know what that's like. What I would say is that I believe every life is precious. Our trigger law does reflect that if it's to save the life of a mother, that an abortion is still illegal. And I just have never believed that having a tragedy or a tragic situation happen to someone is a reason to have another tragedy occur.
So
I would
exception
prefer that we
for rape or
continue
incest.
to make sure we go forward and that we're putting resources in front of these women and walking alongside them, getting them the health care, the mental health counseling and services that they should need to make sure that we can continue to support them and build stronger families far into the future as well.
So no exceptions.
You know, this is a debate that's going to continue to happen from state to state.
There's South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem not answering the question, but answering the question whether or not she's okay with her state, their trigger law that just was triggered at the Supreme Court struck down Roe versus Wade, that would allow or force victims of rape or incest to carry their rapist baby to term. She's okay with that because, why do something horrible after one horrible thing has happened? Because who cares about the life of a mother? So there's Kristi talking about this whole thing, but she wants people to build their families around this whole thing, around their uncle's baby. Sometimes this is build a whole new family around that because that's the American way. Except her state doesn't really do anything about helping these families. Let's watch this.
We want to help support these mothers. I think we can do better in this country, making sure that we're walking alongside them in these situations and making sure that they do have the type of health care and the support financially that they need.
Well, let's look at that support. The Nonpartisan Commonwealth Fund, a social policy think tank, says the 14 states that have the most restrictive abortion laws, including South Dakota, invest the least in policies and programs for women and children. So what do you mean when you say these mothers will never be alone?
Well, I would say that the facts on the ground are that South Dakota is doing a lot to coordinate with nonprofits, with churches, and then also the state in a new way by launching this website and committing to in legislative session to support these mothers is incredibly powerful. This is a conversation that we have a change now at the federal level. The states will be each evaluating how they approach this situation. Getting health care to mothers, helping them during a time of crisis is incredibly important. And these states, remember, Martha, are overwhelmed right now with other situations that are going on, with what Joe Biden is doing to the energy prices in this country, what inflation is doing in this country.
It's almost like she's a running talking point, and a bunch of Republican, all of her handlers tell her exactly what she's supposed to say. So you hear all that? It was a lot of nothing. We're going to talk to churches and communities, and then send them to a website. A lot of vague points. There's specific points for what they're actually doing to people, though. Let's go to this. Because South Dakota is one of multiple states that had in place a so-called trigger law, which immediately banned abortion once the Supreme Court announced its ruling. That's according to the research and policy group Guttmacher Institute. Following the court's decision, all abortions in the state became illegal, quote, unless there is an appropriate and reasonable medical judgment that performance of an abortion is necessary to preserve the life of the pregnant female. This law makes performing an abortion either through a procedure or via medicine a felony. Weird, because there's specifics when it comes to what they're gonna do to punish people or how they're pushing this anti-choice law. But there's no specificity when it comes to helping folks where she said they're all gonna get all this help. So anyway, she's advocating for victims of rape to build families, like I pointed, around their family's kids if they get raped by their uncle.